All right, welcome in everyone. It's Tuesday evening. Time for some Dungeons and Deliberations here on the Master of Dungeons Twitch channel. We have been working on Tuesday evenings for our Dungeons and Deliberations, working on adventure crafting. I'm just kind of giving my advice and walking through the process of what I do when creating adventures, whether it be for homebrew play or for publishing, for writing and publishing an adventure, like on the DM's Guild or something like that. We've been working on the Tower of Lore. Last week we had started working on using a map program to start creating some of the maps. And unfortunately my internet did break that up into 10 different sections. I guess 11 different sections as the stream restarted 10 times last week. Hopefully we had right now, went out over the weekend. We had the provider come over. They had a technician come over yesterday morning. So hopefully we'll be good to go. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, definitely. But yeah, we're talking about the adventures, the Tower of Lore. We went through the first few streams of this. We went through and created the background, our overview, created our hooks. We started working on the different parts of the adventure. We went through call to action part 1 and part 2. We're currently working on part 3. Um, I went ahead and just want to go back to the adventure itself instead of worrying about making more maps and such like that as we did last week, as we can roughly have an idea. Again, this last part lasts, so we've determined for it to last about 1 hour and 45 minutes. The first part's going to be about 30 minutes or so. We can go we're going to go to the next floor. This, to be honest, this could possibly last 45 minutes, especially if they do get into combat. So we're going to go ahead and change that there. That way we have an hour left of the adventure. So we're going to go on to the next floor. We don't want it to be too um, intricate for the players, for the characters, because they are first level characters. They're just going to be getting into it. And of course, we always come back to the tower later on once they quote unquote become the masters of the tower themselves. They can eventually, in other adventures or other stories on down the line, if we decide to continue on this with this storyline, that they can there'll be other adventures in the tower once they discover more of the things that the tower does. So we're going up to the next floor. We're going to put up next floor will be. We're going to put this one at 30 minutes as well. Oh, that's what the issue is. We're gonna go ahead and put this next floor. We're gonna have the wizards. We'll have the wizards' private chambers up with that will be the last floor that they come into. But I guess they are fairly light, fairly easy creatures to manage. So if we put this at 30 minutes, we'll put it, yeah, 30 minutes. Let's put this next bit at 30 minutes as well, which will give us 45 minutes for the little final part. No, yeah, gives 45 minutes for the final part. And then let's go ahead and we'll put, let's see, the wizard's chambers will be the final floor. All right, I'm going to take this bold off of there. I'm going to make sure that it's normal. Okay, so we're gonna have them come up the stairs, and they're going to see as they come up the stairs. Might be like a little antechamber or something like that, where just like at the landing at the top of the stairs, and there's going to be a hallway. They're going to see a door on one side and a door on the other, and at the end of the hallway, they're going to see more stairs heading up even further. That will take them up to the next area, which is the wizard's chambers. So on this area here, we should have a um, let's go ahead and put a some sort of trap in the middle of the hallway here. Let's see. Oops. Let's go over here. And pull up our Dungeon Master's Guide. And we're going to traps. And let's find some sort of fun trap to put in the middle of there. Again, these aren't the whole purpose of this is to test the valor, the whole the valor and their character and such like that of the PCs, as they're supposed to be heroes. We're designing the adventure with the idea that the characters are going to play heroic characters, and then so they're not necessarily going to be designed to necessarily kill the PCs, but at the same time to test their mettle, as it were. Um, so let's do this as a setback trap. And then we'll put a dangerous trap maybe up on the in the wizard's chambers. There's private chambers up above. We don't want to put a pit or anything like that. We want it to be more magical. Obviously the character is not going to have access to dispel magic at first level. Um, we could do all different types of stuff because it could just be magical in nature. It could be like some sort of rolling sphere that's just like a magically causes a ball of force that rolls down the hallway. That's pretty interesting. Let's do it that way. I should really put a header on that. So we want to make sure that we know, again, a lot of the details and things of that nature are going to be left up to whoever decides. If we decide to write this, we might just, just leave it as it is to run it for a game. Maybe we can do it for one of our live play games and just have some fun with it. Let's see here. So we're going to have we do want to at least put the trap down exactly what we're going to have the trap do. Um, let's see. we'll say that with a passive perception of 15 or higher, they can notice it. Um, just because their passive is fairly good, because there's a really good chance that some players can have, not necessarily a good chance, but there's some possibilities to have at least a passive 15 or higher first level. Um, if actively, um, what else with the DC? We don't want it to be too high. If they're actively searching, we want them to be able to have a chance to find it. But if they're not searching, at least someone with passive perception. Let's go ahead and drop that down to a 13. So a DC 12 intelligence investigation check. Let us think of what type of, we could even have some sort of spell or something that might block it, something that first level character might have access to spell wise. So let's go ahead and check that real quick. We're going to, before we move on, let's go ahead and go to, it's going to be the save DC is a DC, we're going to have a DC of 10. And it's going to basically start right there in the middle of the hallway, kind of. Actually, it's going to start at the other end of the hallway and roll all the way down the hallway. So it has a chance for everyone needs to make, will have to, of course, be in the hallway themselves, and we'll need to make a DC. We'll say a dexterity saving throw of 10. And if not, they'll take a die 10 damage from that, which is just a little setback for the damage. So let's note that up real quick. Oops, 6. And we'll make sure that we'll just jot that down there while we're waiting. So that when we get to the point of describing exactly what the consequences of the trap are is there. Um, let's see here, spell wise. Let's see if we can find some cool spell that might be able to deflect it. Go to spells. And then we'll put just first level spells in. So we can look at what first level spells they might have. We put cantrips in there as well. Um, all right, filtering it. There we go. Blade Ward wouldn't necessarily look for more something that would it could use to investigate it. We'll have the DC a little bit higher to remove it. So we can have the DC for removing thieves tools a little bit higher, but we'll say if someone casts, they can make an Arcana check as well if it's pointed out that it does have arcane runes on it, and we could say that a color spray cast on it. Or what else could we have? Something fun like a dancing lights. That's a cantrip. That would kind of work. Um, do something kind of with the light motif of the idea. or a fairy fire, something that's colorful. Obviously, like a light cantrip itself wouldn't work, but like a dancing lights or a fairy fire or a color spray would be able to kind of show the versatility of the characters that they might have access to those types of things. Person search and see what's about the trap. Got itself as magical if triggered. It will create a here. We'll have the this sphere of force energy at the to appear at the opposite end of the hallway from which the characters arrive, and then anyone. So the way we describe the trap is that the trap itself is magical and triggered by stepping onto the trap's space while it's active. We will create a sphere of force energy at the opposite of the hallway from which the characters arrived, and then barrel all the way down the hall and dissipate. Anyone in the hallway must succeed on DC 10 dexterity saving throw, taking one die 10 force on a failed check, or half as much on a success. Um, um, let's see here. Let's go back up there. Okay. Oops. We're gonna put something in there. So we're going to say it can be removed with a successful DC-15 dexterity check using thieves tools or a successful DC-15 intelligence check using alchemist supplies. Um, Alternatively, anyone we're not making it check for Arcana. As long as somebody finds it, we'll just say anyone skilled with Arcana can examine the runes. It says suppressed. So you can't spell suppressed. So we said dancing lights, fairy fire, color spray, right? Hmm. Some reason Chiefs get rid of. There we go. All right. So, alternatively, anyone skilled with Arcana can examine the runes and discover the trap can be disabled for around 10 minutes. Uh, if one of the following spells is cast upon the trap's area, being absorbed by the trap, color spray, dancing lights, or fairy fire. Just we'll say it could be dispelled. That way, if they do cast a first level, well, let's see. Um, what we'll do is we'll say, If they cast a color spray or a fairy fire, which is a first level spell, we will go ahead and have it dispel it. But if they're only using a dancing lights cantrip, which obviously they can cast as many cantrips they want all day, it just suppresses it. Let's go ahead and just have it disabled, but we'll rearm itself. We'll drop that down to 1 minute. That gives them enough time to go across if they want to just cast a dancing lights down there. But if they decide to go ahead and use an actual more of their resources, like a casting color spray or fair fire, they can actually disable the whole trap. All right, then we're gonna go with B1. Then want to have B2. Um, we're going to say that both of the doors are locked with arcane locks, but they can be bypassed if the command word is spoken. We're going to have the command word be Darby. That would most stuff players would be looking for. Obviously, we could change that around. It could have been something that they spotted or found while they were examining the entry room with the fireplace, the sitting room, and such like that. We can always go back and do something there if we need to. But for now, let's just do something simple like Darby or Spot, since those are um, the friend, sometimes traveling companion, and which is the fairy dragon, and then the familiar, which is the blink dog of the wizard. Um, Let me see here. Let's double check arcane lock. Let's go with second level spells as well. Should be at the top. Arcane lock is second level, and it can be undone with the knock spell to suppress it. Um, they can, of course, try to break it or pick any locks on the door, which would increase them by 10. So let's go through and say, Since they are arcade locked, normally it would be the DC 10 to burst through and then a DC 10 to pick the lock. But since there's arcade lock on it, we got to increase those by 10. We also put the damage on there. We're going to let's actually put the points up to well 25. We'll say 30. We'll just go 30. Just double the AC there. So they'll have 30 hit points. AC of 15, 30 hit points, and are immune to psychic and poison damage. So that will help us with the doors there. All right, and give me a couple of moments. I'm going to take a small little break here and take care of my own familiar. But please stick around. We'll be right back in just a second. All right. Sorry about that. Thank you very much. All right. So what we're going to do is let's go ahead and work on the laboratory next. We will say, let's double check here just to make sure we didn't really miss anything next. So let's see, we've talked about what the hallway looks like. We've discussed the two doors on either side of the hallway opposite each other. We discussed the hallway trap. We're going to go ahead and go with the laboratory next. Let's go back, because this is where we're going to have the methods and the abyssal wretches come from. So I believe we put 2 of each. Want to put something fun and interesting in here that isn't necessarily, maybe almost as if it was something that the wizard might not have planned on happening, that could be kind of dangerous for the characters. Um, for monster wise, we could have like a slat tadpole in one of the jars or something. Let's see here. Let's look at some of the creature ratings. Let's go with aberrations, elemental, oozes, plants. Let's look at see what we got here. So we obviously have, we'll see shrubs and sprouts and shriekers really won't necessarily apply. Flumps are good, so we really don't. Ooh, we could have some Neogi or Neogi, depending on how you pronounce it. Hashlings, slot tadpole as well. Twig blights, oblix spawns. Hmm. Let's look at oblix spawns. Mordenkainen presents Monsters of the Multiverse, the most updated version. Oblix spawn. Those are like little oozes. They're challenge 1/4. So the ink will have dried up. There's parchments and scrolls scattered on the desk, as well as supply of old quills. Obviously, when the person gets to writing or designing this laboratory, they can go into more detail, more depth. You can use your box text to give all the little hints that the players could investigate as well. Since this area is going to be 30 minutes, actually, I think we wanted to boost that up. I think this one is the one we want to boost to 45 minutes for this floor, the next floor here. That way it'll give us 30 minutes on the last floor, which is the wizard's chambers, and that will probably mostly just be role playing. Uh, and again, as we've mentioned before in the designing of the adventure, we always tried to give a combat solution, a exploration solution, and a social solution. Well, in this one, we might just have it result in combat. Sometimes in games, also as a DM, depending on how you play, at least for me, there's sometimes I want the players to understand, for their characters at least, um, sometimes combat is unavoidable. Of course, if they wanted to avoid combat, they could always, just go ahead and leave these creatures in here and not get rid of them. We're going to put some obelisk spawns in here. They're tiny oozes. Wonder if we should put anything else in there with them as well. We could. Hmm. That would be interesting. I was thinking maybe like a fire snake, but let's put challenge ratings. So go to 1/4 there. So obelisk spawns. Could always do something like violet fungus. Um, Now we could put something in here because this is a laboratory, things getting mixed up. We could maybe even have some sort of, you don't want to put a whole bunch of stuff in there, but you do want to give it enough options so that the replayability of the adventure is a lot more fun. You could do alternative types of laboratory situations where, hey, if you do this laboratory, they fight. You could also, as we mentioned earlier, if you want to put in some alternative ways of the encounter of the laboratory, you could have it be more of an environmental um, encounter where you have gas, alchemical substances here and there, and it's kind of, or maybe like a burner or a Bunsen, not necessarily a Bunsen burner, but some sort of thing has been left on and needs to be turned off, or they can, or it needs to be sealed, something like that. Um, you can always do in this situation. But we'll just go ahead and stick with the three obelisk spawns for now. And then we'll add a little bit of an environment thing in there by going ahead and maybe putting in, um, let's go to the monster manual and look up our violet fungus. Might be pretty tough though. I mean, they are fairly easy to take out because they only have an AC of 5 and they only have 18 hit points. However, they do. Well, let's go ahead. We can go ahead and put them in there, but we just need to make sure that um, instead of a D4 rotting touch attacks, they only, let's say, only make one or two, or maybe two. That way, there's not a chance of 4 attacks going out because they do have a reach of 10. So let's say Geo can't even spell tonight, so I'm not going to worry about it. So we went ahead and noted that on there that unfortunately some of the other contents of the broken jars is formed of violent fungus as its normal stat block, but it makes it die 2 attacks as its multi attack action instead of a die 4. Look at tools here. Some of the different tool sets because alternatively you don't necessarily have to give out a whole bunch of magic items. I know some dungeon masters are a little iffy about wanting to give out a lot. So far I think the only thing we've done is we've given out some splint armor and a moon touch sword, which is a common magic item. We'll probably put a couple more common magic items in some of these different rooms, but also you can give them, mundane gear as well, like alchemist supplies. First level characters, sometimes it's hard for them to, especially if they've used alternate ways of making their character through Tashas or Xanathars and such like that, where they might have multiple um, tool proficiencies, but they might not have the funds to purchase the tools. So putting those types of things in adventures are nice as well. And it's another alternative to instead of giving out magic items. So let's go to sources, player's handbook. Let's go to tools, adventuring gear, tools. Let's see. We'll say 2 sets of alchemist supplies. Uh, Tinkerer's tools. Let's say 2 sets of alchemist supplies. Put brewer supplies in there as well, just from all of the extra things that are in there that the wizard would have used for experiments and stuff. Um, let's say a set of tinkerer's tools and an herbalist kit. All right, well that doesn't look too bad. That's we got the next part of the next floor working. We've got the hallway. We've got the doors taken care of. We've got the hallway trap. In the laboratory itself, we might maybe add a little bit more extra to the laboratory next week. Obviously, we're going to move on to the private study after that, and then work on the wizard's chambers. We'll probably come up with some more different other common magic items. You probably wanted to, what I like to do is put in at least 2 to 3 consumables, like whether it be a lower level spell scrolls or some common potions like potions of healing, things of that nature throughout. But we'll, of course, mess around with that a little bit next week. Of course, tomorrow evening we do have our tavern talks at the Shifty Boar. Again, still looking for a permanent co-host so we can really work on the talk show format that we want to really have for that. But until then, we are still going to be going over all of the one D&D playtest material from the Unearthed Arcana. If you're interested in checking that out as well, you can go to D&D Beyond to check that out. Or, of course, you can join our Discord here on Twitch TV. The link is below in our About Us section. We have all of the current updated PDFs from the 1D&D playtests on our Discord server as well. And then, of course, Thursday and Friday, we'll be back with Dungeon Delving from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern. And we will be back this Sunday with our part 2 of the Masterpiece Imbroglio, level 5, 5th level adventure from Keys from the Golden Vault. We unfortunately had to postpone this past Sunday as I was completely out of internet service, as was and our the Otter was dealing with some patchy internet for during the day as well. But we're all back to normal, and we will be back with part 2 of Masterpiece Imbroglio this Sunday coming up at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Thanks, of course, to all of our supporters, especially our patrons from Patreon. If you'd like to help support the Master of Dungeons Twitch channel, please consider becoming a patron. We do have some different tiers up there as well, and or you can sub here on Twitch also. The link to our Patreon page, as well as all of our social media accounts, can be found in the About Us section below here on Twitch, twitch.tv/The Master of Dungeons. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, give us some likes, retweets, all that good stuff. Every sub, like, and share helps us immensely. You can also support us, as I just mentioned earlier, by joining our Master of Dungeons community Discord server. Right there, you can help shape a caring, inclusive, and accepting community. We also have a merch store that is up and running for about 2 weeks now, maybe a little bit longer. We do have a Pride shirt up for the month for Pride Month on there also. You can check that out. Some other T-shirts, and I think we have some glasses and mugs and hats and such on there. That will definitely help support the channel also. And of course, tips are welcome, are always welcome, but definitely not expected. Just want to thank everyone for the support, and thank you for watching. And as always, we'll see you soon, and happy adventuring.